So I ended up watching the new Abba and Preach video that they dropped, and it was talking about Sneako, right? Now, if you guys know, I actually like Sneako. I think Sneako's pretty funny. I usually watched him for entertainment. I never really got my sources from him, and most time I was just there watching him because he would just say a bunch of ridiculous things. I thought it was funny. I thought the whole time it was just entertainment. I didn't know that he was trying to go for spreading some sort of ideology. I mean, obviously, yeah, that's what he was doing, but I never saw it like that. But I can understand how people would interpret it like that. So nonetheless, I thought it was pretty interesting when they brought up Sneako, and then they started talking about their issue with Sneako. Now, when I watched the video, I couldn't believe that Sneako was kind of dissing Abba and Preach. As a matter of fact, he says all of these blue-pilled, I think, YouTubers. Bro, like, these are the people that were looking out for you. Like, I don't understand how you even came to this conclusion. I think that he's just been hanging around with people who just despise their enemies so much, like Fresh and Fit. I don't know how much they despise Abba and Preach, or whatever the case is. I don't know who's telling him all of this stuff, but nonetheless, I really can't believe that he's came to this conclusion. And I have the video here. It's from the new Abba and Preach video, but I just kind of want to show you guys some things that I have a problem with.
Watch the Apple and Peach video he did about you. Bro, these blue pill people who only focus on the shit that, bro, you know what is newsworthy and what Abba and Preach should be about if they're a commentary channel who cares about free speech? They should have made a video talking about the fact that I got deplatformed off of most of these social media sites. But he didn't. It doesn't matter.
My man's out here right now lecturing me, talking about, oh, Abba, if you cared, you would have talked about my deplatforming. Deplatforming is a big problem. Bro, you out here sucking off Fresh and Fit, two guys who try to DMCA strike and get a bunch of channels deplatformed, right? You haven't sat in on a podcast with them and had a long-form discussion. All of a sudden, now that you're suffering, deplatforming is a big problem. If you felt so strongly, you probably would have said something, but you don't, because now you need to suck off their teats just to be able to make some dimes.
That is give me a second. There you go. That is insane that he's like, you could straight up tell that Abba is just throwing jabs at Sneako. Dude, I just don't understand how you came to that conclusion. Like, I'm still baffled that when I was watching this, I couldn't believe that he was talking about Sneako, and then Sneako was talking about how, like, all of these guys are blue-pilled and plugged into the Matrix, and how they've bought into all these, like, false ideologies. Dude, like, these people were, like, looking out for you. I still remember a stream where Sneako was talking with Gideon, and Gideon was telling him, listen, man, I know you're big right now, and you're on fire, and you're hot, but it's all gonna come down if you continue to go down this path of self-destruction, or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. I don't really remember word for word, but it went something along those lines. And Sneako was all like, nah, man, it's not gonna happen. Like, he was just kind of in denial. When someone is in denial of, like, a potential future, it kind of just blows my mind, because it is a high possibility that whatever people are recognizing to be the future could potentially be the future, and he doesn't accept it. So what I mean by that is that there's so many people. There's Destiny, there's Abba and Preach, there's Gideon, there was KSI, who were telling him, you're gonna get banned, you're gonna get kicked off the platform, you're gonna be completely deplatformed, and you're not gonna be able to come onto this platform and spread whatever message you want to spread. And he was in denial the whole time. And as a matter of fact, even Sneako knew that he was gonna get banned. Remember, if you guys are a Sneako fan, okay? I know I have, like, a Sneako fan in here, I think, because he was talking to me about certain things about Sneako. Even you know, bro, that he was gonna be deplatformed because he kept talking about it in almost every episode of Fresh and Fit. I do watch Fresh and Fit, not because of Fresh and Fit, but because Sneako was on it. And sometimes, well, Abba and Preach they're not on it anymore. Destiny, he's on it sometimes. But I watch them only when, like, some of my favorite commentators are there. And I know that these commentators can hold their own ground and they have a solid ideology. But nonetheless, yeah, dude, like, we knew that Sneako was gonna get banned. Even he knew it. So I don't know why he's making these videos coming out with all of this stuff. But I got some other stuff I want to share with you guys. Hang on.
congratulations, you played yourself. Everybody warned you left and right that you probably shouldn't be doing this. Nigga, you can't swim. And then you decide to go in the deep end with the sharks, found out shit's a little steep. And all of a sudden you want everybody to jump in there, save your ass. You were warned, brother. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't like seeing you being devoured, but what more can a man do? Like J. Cole says, don't save her, she don't want to be saved. That's you.
Stop. You're literally just adding salt to the wound. But then again, this is beef between them. I'm a nobody in this, so I used to be a fan, okay? And you're seeing the perspective of a fan. And again, I wasn't in there for the ideology. I was in there because I actually liked Sneako, and I thought that I actually liked Sneako, and I really had hope for his future. I really wanted him to win because, dude, he was attracting all of these intellectuals. He was attracting. I consider Abba and Preach an intellectual. I consider Destiny definitely an intellectual because he's always just reading up on subjects, wanting to inform his community, and always wanting to spread a better message. So I consider those people intellectuals, you know. And when you attract those kind of people and they're looking out for you, dude, come on, man, you already have it in the bag. But nope, he wanted to go, I guess he considered it the dark side or the red pill, I don't know, because he wanted to team up with what's his name, Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, which is, it's not bad, but still, dude, when you have people like these guys who are telling you that if you continue to do this, you're gonna fall, you're going to get banned. I don't even know if Fresh and Fit or even Andrew Tate were warning him about it. I don't even think they were warning him about being deplatformed or whatever the case is. I'm sure they were, because I remember him, Sneako, and Tristan Tate were talking about how you have to be careful with your messaging. You have to be careful with what people say about you and make sure you combat that in a decent way. But knowing Sneako, he doesn't know decent. He's very, very polarizing when it comes to being in front of the camera. But again, dude, if these guys came to me like Abba and Preach and Destiny, KSI, Jadion, if all of these people came to me and told me to look out for myself, to be careful, watch out what I say so I don't get banned, dude, I'm going to listen to these guys, because these guys are, I consider them to be influential in a positive way. But Sneako wanted to go down the I got banned route. I got banned from YouTube, now look at me. The Matrix is real. Bro, I don't know if you know this, but the Matrix is not real. Okay, this whole thing of oh, you know, we've been blue pilled and we need to take the red pill so we can wake up, dude. If you do research, you can just, a lot of people don't like to do research, but when you do research, you start to realize that things aren't exactly the way things look. There's always complexities behind every issue. This is why I never subscribe to any of that red pill stuff, because you could do research, cross-reference, and you can figure out that a lot of the stuff that people like to say through word of mouth isn't exactly how it's actually structured. There's a lot more complexities than just a simple, oh, if your friends did it, are you gonna do it too? You know what I mean? Even that phrase itself, as simple as it sounds, it's a lot more complex than you think. It's not just about, oh, if your friends do it, would you do it too? If your friends are doing it, they're doing it for a reason. They understand the risk. Some of them probably understand the risk, but they're willing to take it because that's the way they like to live their life. If you're being influenced by them and then somebody comes along and says, okay, so if your friends jumped off a cliff, would you do it too? Why would their friends jump off a cliff? You know what I mean? It's not just as simple as just oh, they're just gonna jump off a cliff. Who knows why they're gonna jump off a cliff? There's probably something that they know. Maybe they're gonna tie themselves up and then jump off a cliff and have fun like that because they like the adrenaline. Who knows? It's just a lot more complex, and then you take away a lot of the context behind the issue. But nonetheless, I feel like these thoughts are underdeveloped. Okay, don't hold me to that, because these are things that I have to think about more. But nonetheless, Sneako, dude, it's so disappointing that there's just people here that were watching your back, looking out for you, giving you advice, trying to help you win, but you rejected it. And it's unbelievable that you allowed yourself to venture into uncharted territory without your group, your team. I consider them teammates. I play games a lot, so I consider them teammates. You want to stick around with your team, all right? You don't want to go out there and venture solo into uncharted territory, because I'm gonna tell you this right now: the outside world can be absolutely influential if you allow it to influence you. There's this thing called priming, and you're gonna hear me talk a lot about this priming, okay? Which is a psychological trait. Priming is when you go into when you see certain items, certain people, and they speak certain ideologies, that puts an idea in your head, and so you start to think more and more about it, and then you start to realize that it's all around you. But in reality, it's just because you have these thoughts in your mind that are being implanted into you. If you don't believe me, look it up. Priming. It's a psychological characteristic that we all have. Nobody is immune from it. Okay? If there's people out there who tell you, like myself, if I tell you don't, like, to the women and men too as well, if I tell you don't go watch what do you call it, red pill content, your curiosity speaks. I mean, your curiosity peaks, which is, I don't even know if this is an actual proven tested theory, which is the Streisand effect, that no matter if someone tells you not to do it, you will still do it. That's called the Streisand effect. But I don't know how well tested that theory is, or that term is. But there is this thing called priming. So when you surround yourself around that ideology, you prime yourself into thinking that kind of ideology. So now whenever you go around the world, or wherever you're at in your local neighborhood, you start to see patterns that are consistent with that ideology, because again, you've been primed to think that stuff. Don't program yourself into thinking all these kinds of things. I'm telling you, dude, learn how to do research. Okay, I know that people like to tell other people, trust me, just go do your research, just do your research. But the truth is, nobody really knows how to do research, because when they do go do the research, they end up encountering polarizing figures like Sneako or people like Andrew Tate, and then they end up thinking that that's how the real world is, when the reality is it's not like that. It's just a bunch of ideologies that are just spread. They're spread around from community to community, and then they live by that philosophy or that ideology. One of the things I like to do is I like to take ideologies, and I like to take something that's pretty interesting or maybe can benefit me, and I like to apply it to myself. That's what I like to do. But it's very difficult to do that stuff, because when you go into a territory like that, like let's say the red pill, then you start to see other things that attract you. You got to be very careful with that kind of stuff, which is why, like, I don't recommend people going into that type of territory, the red pill territory, because it could be very that stuff is very compelling for you. Just don't do it, man. I highly suggest staying away from it. That's pretty much all I want to talk about. Is there anything else? Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. It sucks that Sneako went down that route. He's been completely apprehended by a certain ideology and a certain group of people, and it's unfortunate. Sneako just was motivated about the wrong things, so